We're here today with Ramses Calderon. Ramses is living in Canada now, but he is from El Salvador, and he is probably the premier student of Agustin Barrios, a famous Latin American composer. What you've just been listening to is not Barrios, but another composer. Ramses, who were we listening to?
Yeah, we listened to José Escolástico Andrino. He was a composer from Guatemala, born in 1817, and then died in El Salvador in 1862.
And this music has not been heard before, am I correct?
Yes, yes.
So this is original music, and you are cataloging and collecting this music. You periodically travel back to South America and find this stuff in various places.
Yes. Well, this project started, we'll say, almost 17 years ago. And how the project started was that one of my teachers, actually, who was Barrios' disciple, started to talk about it, about this composer, you know, and some of the Barrios students. This is amazing. One of the Barrios students was two of the Barrios' first disciples in El Salvador. They were the great-grandsons of this composer, Escolástico Andrino. So that's how I actually got connected to them. And then I said, well, so how can we hear more about this music? I said, well, no many people know, so you have to ask to another person. So he referred me to another music teacher who was also Barrios' disciple. The Barrios used to call him Maestro. And he actually has some of the music. So he gave me some of the music. Then he referred me to another collector who was at that time already old too. You know, like I mean, he was already like 90, and his name was Sabino de Odanes. He was, and I totally remember the day. He was amazing, amazing soul. You know, a person who entirely provide and give and care. You know, working and writing all the time. He also was a teacher and composer, right? And he said, yeah, you should go downstairs. It should be something down there, you know. And you should go. So I went to the basement and said, oh. And I went to the wall and said, the whole wall, you know, full of music. Full of music. I said, just look and take what you need, say. And I say, and unfortunately, some of the, you know, the climate down there is very warm and humid, you know. So a lot of the music was getting bad, it was getting raw. So he gave me all of it. Say, take all of it. Say, you're gonna preserve it, you're gonna do it, and then I became really serious interested on it. Because then everyone at the time, you know, the teacher, the masters of the time, you know, were now dead. You know, they were the same age, you know, 90, 95, 92, 80, 87. And all of them got together most of the time, right? So they start to reconnect each other and say, well, and it start to give me more and more. And then I really start to get really into it and feeling the responsibility of that.
How many of these composers have you collected? Perhaps not all of their works, but some of their work. How many would there be?
Well, the numbers of the composers that we have right now is around 250. 250 composers from Central America. The music that we have, the paper, the manuscript that we have of all of them. I mean, right now I have no idea because I'm still cataloging, right? But we have so far like catalog more than 1,500 pieces. Which is requiems, valses, motets, symphonies, marches, and but a lot of music, a lot of religious music, you know, vocal music that other music they composed at the time.
What time would what era would this have been?
So we're talking about the earliest composer that we have is 1770 year, you know, it's 1770. You know, and then like this composer was he born in 1817. You know, so it's very important and to be able to preserve and to keep this music, because it's the history of a nation. It's a musical history of a portion of land, not only in the country but in Central America and Latin America. Because remember, at the time we never had countries at the time. At that time it was only one big area that, for example, El Salvador was depending of Guatemala state, who was depending from the crown from Spain. So definitely this is a massive chunk of history of the evolution and contribution of the music in El Salvador, in Central America. I mean, we have a lot of music from Central America. So right now what we are doing actually is cataloging the music, what we have. Then we have to digitalize the music, with we already some of them, and transcribe it to the program, so actually we can have the idea of how it sounds, and what kind of music are we talking about, one, and two, so we can actually put a concert together. That's one thing that we are working right now.
And who are you working with on this?
Well, in this project in Canada, we're working with Edminovich from the concertmaster.
Here,
yeah,
yes.
The concertmaster at the RSO. Back home, we having a foundation, a cultural foundation. That is the name is a Red Cultural, or Red Cultural. But not the red, it's not the color, but in Spanish, red is network. So we call it a cultural network foundation. And then we have people working right now there, and also in Spain. In a matter of fact, some of the descendants of this composer, they are working with us now to be able to preserve some of this music. And
you are working with Ed on a series of concerts?
Well, with Ed, we're working in a few projects. Some of them we really want to try to set up a concert in Canada. So we're waiting for some of the funding. How's that go? Basically, just to pay the musicians, right, and a space to be able to set up a high quality concert, to be able to record the concert too. So we have a recording. And then the other project that we are working with Ed is with Ed, actually, the trio contrast, which is Ed, Pauline Minovich, and David McIntyre. We got a grant. Luckily, we got a grant for and thankful, to the Sask Sask Arts Board. We got a grant, Culture on the Go. So in March we having a concert in master classes in Guatemala and El Salvador with the orchestra. In Guatemala we are playing with the youth orchestra, so we're writing some of the music. So with Ed we're working in that right now too, and we are trying to work with Ed, try to set up what we were talking before, El Sistema, El Sistema of youth orchestras in Regina. It won't be like El Sistema, of course, because it's a different realities, but try to apply the same idea, the same concept, to work with First Nation, to work with persons and kids and youth who has less opportunity too. So the music in this case can be accessible for everyone, and everyone get the right to enjoy, and to be part of it.
What you work with indigenous groups and rediscovering or promoting indigenous music from various places, Latin America and others, do you not?
Yeah. Well, mostly mostly than the music, working with the culture itself, with culture. I mean, I have heard natives from my land, so what we call mestizos, but I think it is extremely important for these times to first to get to know your root, it doesn't matter wherever we come from in the world. If we know our roots, so we are a little bit more confident about who we are in general, right? And then to be able to learn and respect about another cultures, so we don't have the issues that we have nowadays, about racism, about problems and discrimination. So if we really understand who we are, then we're gonna understand another people, then we're gonna understand another's culture, and we're gonna respect, and then we're gonna have a better society. You know, so that's what I really work most with the First Nations in Canada and back home. You know, try to in Guatemala, try to create those connections. What we actually just start a project what we call building bridges. But I'm talking about that, to build bridge first with yourself, you know, to be able to reconnect yourself, to be able to reconnect with another person, you know, and that take a time, but at the same time take a courage.
Through music, then, you're hoping to create these cultural bridges and general awareness. Do you find that music is the best cultural tool for that? Its universality, its accessibility, which is fairly general?
Yes, I do believe. I mean, all the arts is a powerful tool to change consciousness, change life, change everything. And that's why actually most of the governments, you know, try to always cut the arts, because make people think, you know, make people feel and express what they feel. But through music, because it's a different frequencies, different vibrations, different tones, and who affect your physical body, your emotional, mental body, spiritual body. So through music, you get affected like almost immediately. You listen to a piece of music, and it can make you cry, it can make you happy, or it can make you angry, it can make you sad in a matter of seconds. You know, you just listen to that, and you are in a totally different mood. So if we really use the music, the tool, to be able to build bridges, to be able to reconnect ourselves, to be able to communicate, to be able to deliver the information, to be able to transfer the message of peace and love and whatever we want to do. Definitely, music is one of the most powerful tools. And I always say, music or sound is one of the most powerful tools that we have, because it changed the masses completely.